This is the Catch a Break podcast, the insider's guide to breaking into and navigating the entertainment industry. I'm Julie Harris Oliver. You can find us at catchabreakpodcast.com and all the social media at Catch a Break Pod, as well as all the podcast places. The presenting sponsor of Season 4 of Catch a Break is Santa Clarita Studios, a full-service independent studio featuring 35 sound stages, an amazing new backlot featuring a New York and LA downtown street with interiors and an alley, fully furnished production office space, and suite-style executive offices, along with post-production space. Dedicated to providing an attentive and personally tailored experience for all of their clients, Santa Clarita Studios offers rentals and services to meet any need and budget. Find them at santaclaritastudios.com. Hey everyone, if you're like me, what you watch depends on what kind of mood you're in. Sometimes I'm craving comedies like Friends or South Park, and sometimes I am totally into dramas like HBO Succession and House of the Dragon. I also love cooking shows like Chopped and Beat Bobby Flay, and don't get me started with movies like Lord of the Rings and Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Well, Max is the streaming destination that has the best of entertainment for whatever mood I'm in, anytime. And plans start as little as $9.99 a month. Max, the one to watch. You have to subscribe though, so visit max.com. We are continuing our Project Greenlight series where we talk to the cast and crew of Grey Matter and get the real behind the scenes of the behind the scenes. We're dropping these pretty fast, so if you want to start at the beginning, go back and start with episode 401. Okay, so sometimes when I'm getting to the end of an episode, I will ask my guests, is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask you? And sometimes that just brings up a gem of a conversation that we weren't expecting. At the end of interviewing Jeanette and Yolanda and Meko, I asked, is there anything I didn't ask you that I should have asked you? And that uncovered a whole conversation about the table read and how it was not at all what they thought it was going to be. So here is Meko, Jeanette, and Yolanda talking about what happened on table read day, how it really went. Okay, have a listen. So I'm sitting here with Jeanette Volturno, Yolanda Cochran, and Meko Winbush, and we were just having a long conversation about Project Greenlight and Grey Matter and all the behind the scenes of the behind the scenes. And then it came up the day of the table read that everybody wanted to talk about. So we thought, let's do a little mini episode as a bonus, just talking about the table read day. Because I think from what I hear, it was a bit unusual. Meko, why don't you tell us about how that day went? Or why don't we even start back before that? What is a table read day?
I guess it's just a day where everyone sits around the table and reads the script.
I guess it is pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. We like to go back to basics, but sometimes it really is. You don't need that.
It's interesting that I will point out that in my experience in both film and television, they operate a little bit differently between film and TV. So
how so?
I mean, the table read's always a little bit about let's hear the script and hear how the story's playing and how our performances are going. In the film world, it's really about focus on script and potential script changes more so than performance and those kinds of things, especially because at that stage, you're generally within days of shooting your movie. Whereas in particular in episodic television, it's a lot about, there's constant casting because there's an episode every week or whatever the case may be. Your shooting schedule might be a little bit longer, but it's more, in addition to hearing the script and making changes to the script for the writer's room, it's also about evaluating the individual performers who've recently been cast who aren't series regulars. Yeah. So they operate a little bit differently.
Okay. So this would have been like the first time everyone sits down, reads the script, we hear the characters, we hear how it goes, and you're starting to think of, how am I going to direct this thing, listening to how everybody's reading?
And part of it too, the script was still kind of a little bit in flux also. So it was an opportunity to at least hear everyone read it, or at least hear all the dialogue by the people who are actually going to be delivering those lines on set.
Okay, so let's talk about that day. The sun came up. And then what happened?
Birds were singing. So yeah, we get there, and yeah, that was my first day actually meeting any of the cast members. I mean, we were kind of casting up until the last minute, but yeah, this was the first time that I got to meet all of the cast. And so, for instance, Mia, I think this was on a Monday. She basically had just accepted the role on Saturday and was flying Sunday. So this is, first time I'm meeting her, first time I'm meeting Garrett. I was able to have a quick quick chat with Jessica prior to it on Zoom, which was nice because part of the thing is like, I want to get to know the actors. I would have liked to have gotten to know the actors just on a personal level before, sitting down and reading the script, before even getting into character and choices and motivations and all of that. But unfortunately, I didn't really have that opportunity just because we were moving so quickly. These offers were kind of happening very last minute. And I think Garrett had just flown in from another shoot he was on. Yeah, there's definitely, in hindsight, I absolutely wish I could have met with each person. I mean, even if it was just 20 minutes, just alone privately, like, hi, where are you from? What are your hobbies? Like, who are you?
Who are you?
At least because we're going to be in the trenches together. So let's get to know each other a little.
So was it like, hello, everybody, we're sitting down, we're reading?
No, it was
that was kind of your first?
No, when we got there, because people were getting COVID tested and all of this. And so it's just, finally like, hey, hi. And then there's food or something. And then, we all kind of sit down, and that was the opportunity for, it's like, okay, let's sit down. And then I was just going to have them read the script. So this is my first time hearing it from other people. And it's like, I don't really care so much about performance. Let's just hear it. And
like, I got to think they're nervous doing the table read anyway.
Yeah.
And then nervous having a camera in your face and having this whole, like, you have to perform as a human besides as an actor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of moving parts.
It is. And it was, and also they're kind of just going off of what's on the page. Like I didn't really give instruction, like, let's just hear it. And then, afterwards.
Because that was your first, it was the first, because we had a pre-read. So you guys, the first time you guys
just like, let them read it. And then it's like, okay, now we can talk about, character or whatever and choices and this and that. But honestly, a cast this big, I would have loved to have gotten like 30 minutes with each person, which would have taken.
How much did you get?
I didn't, no time. Like, yeah. Because then they were going to do another read for everyone. And so, I think we finished and I was like, all right, does anyone have any questions? And no one really said anything. And then it was like, hey, Meko, we need you upstairs for this phone call with Issa. So I got taken away, went upstairs, chatted with her about, I don't even really remember what the chat was about. I think it was
something very important.
No, it was about just how, I think this was it, but something about how there have been actors who have been replaced based off of how they've performed at a table read. I think that was kind of the gist of it. So yeah. And then, when I came back down, then it was time to do this next read. So basically these poor actors had to read the script twice, like literally back to back.
No notes.
No. So
normally how would that work? If you didn't have this whole show happening, how normally would that work?
Yeah, just real quick, that's another example too of a little bit of the difference with a table read and features and table reads in television. It's not unusual to, like, if somebody's going to get replaced, that's that's like highly unusual in the feature world that someone's getting replaced. Because in television, there's lots of network people and studio people present, and that's the norm. And the whole idea is to immediately give a bunch of feedback and notes. And it just operates a little bit different in features. You're ready to go. You're ready to shoot. Yeah. At that point, everybody has confidence in the actors, and in any adjustments for performance would just be like a note to a director for when we start shooting.
Okay, now this has come up a couple of times. Was anyone in danger of being evaluated and being replaced?
I mean, not in my mind. Yeah, it was just one of those things because I was very, very confident in the people that we chose for these roles, and I was very confident in the people that Seth, our casting director, presented to me. I mean, that guy, he did such a good job. Like the cast that I got, it was a dream cast. So,
Jeanette, do you remember some of those, like some of the points that came up about even general stuff, some of those comments?
Yeah, I mean, I remember after the table read, everybody went away and you and I, Yolanda, were sitting in the room waiting because I thought we were doing a show and tell, and we were going to have all of the department heads do a show and tell. And about 15, 20 minutes later, when no one was coming back, we got asked to go upstairs. And when we went upstairs, they wanted to find out how we felt that the table read went, because they were really judging it, as Yolanda says, from more of a television perspective of really seeing, what the cast brought to the table and expecting them to have gone full out when all of them just met there that morning. No one had a chance to really talk or go through things. Meko didn't get a chance to go through them with any of the notes because she was pulled away to have the conversation with Issa. So it was an interesting evaluation for something that wasn't a complete process.
Yeah, everyone's just doing their best guess.
Yeah, no, and well, on top of it, I probably wouldn't have had time anyway, but yeah, in my head, it's like, here, let's just read it and let's hear it. And then we can kind of talk about all of that stuff. And so, it definitely was sort of this cold read, but yeah, I definitely, had I known what was expected of me, I guess, I definitely probably would not have agreed to do the day this way, especially without having adequate time to get to know the actors and just, again, just discuss,
It's interesting too, because you know what, to be honest, I feel a little bit of responsibility, although we were a little bit in the dark about how that, like, this was still early on in the process of, we hadn't started shooting yet. We had been prepping, but, this was the first time we were doing this kind of activity. So I think Jeanette and I were surprised about how various things happened as well, including what she just mentioned, which was the intention was we were immediately going to go into the show and tell for the film, where you have your department heads, like your DP and your production designer, show all of your, network and studio people what the film's going to look like and all of those things. So we had these expectations. So things weren't playing out the way we expected either. So I almost feel, I think I presumed, Meko, that you were able to have these conversations with cast before that day without even asking. Like, I just thought that you were able to. And so,
because there was an element of all of us being separated.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of those things too. I mean, again, had I known what the day was, you can't prepare for something that you don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, all of a sudden it starts raining and it's like, well, why didn't you bring a jacket? And it's like, well, I didn't know I was going to need one. It's one of those kind of, I don't know, it's probably not the best analogy. But yeah, it's just
how do you know in that circumstance, like, how do you know which entity is the boss of the day?
Yeah.
Because on the film, you all would be the boss of the day. Yeah. In the show people would be the boss of the day. The network's the boss of the day. So who wins?
I don't know. It's definitely a weird. Yeah, it's definitely a weird thing.
For us, we were just I think all throughout, I think, Jeanette, you'll agree, and you can speak to this, is we always saw our jobs as, being shepherds and caretakers of the film. And that was it. And to be also partners with the series, but our entire job was to, take care of the film and make a good film. So that's all we were focused on. And so whether or not the things are happening for the series side of things, I don't think either of us ever felt like we needed to worry about that.
Yep, I would agree with that. Yeah. And walking up and having the conversation about the table read and what our feelings were on the actors, I felt that those actors read the script just fine. Did they bring a performance to it that was nuanced? No, because they didn't have a chance to work with Meko. But there was nothing in it that alarmed me that made me think that we should have replaced someone or that we made a poor choice on that. And I backed Meko's choices 100% from that. And I think that's, part of what came out of the table read was they were questioning the decisions that we made and if we were all still confident in that. And I'm really glad that we stayed the course.
Well, having seen the film, your choices were excellent. Like, they were great. So I assume at some point you got to talk to your actors and talk about motivation and
absolutely.
intent and all that.
Absolutely. Because, I think, I remember talking to Jessica afterward, because I think when she kind of was reading it, she was reading it like a bit too tough. And it was just like it's like, and that's just a simple, these people are all professionals. It's just little adjustments that we can make before or on set. And like even Garrett, just chatting with him on the phone and stuff like that, and how he was going to play the character and stuff. And he's like, I think it's just kind of playing it just genuine. And it was very simple things, just simple conversations, and that, we just didn't have. And obviously, and it is weird. Like, you're just meeting these people for the first time, and yeah, I don't like, I like to know who I'm working with. And it's,
of course,
after the fact, like, I had like a 2-hour lunch with Garrett like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And that's the lunch I wish I would have had with him before this table read, you know?
Yeah.
Because now it's like, oh, we're actually friends essentially, like where it's like, okay, like I know who you are as a person and this, and we're comfortable with each other, and there's that trust that's been built. So then when you do get on set, because it's all, you know, being on set, it's already kind of a crazy experience, and then with the cameras, it heightens everything. So I think had everyone, or, you know, just known each other a little bit better too, it definitely would have helped. But you know, at the end of the day, these people, they're all professionals, and they came in. That's why they do this job. They're good at their job, and they came in and did it. And I know, like, you know, people are, even studios and all of that, they're going to have reservations, and you know, part of my job is sort of putting their mind at ease. And the thing is, they don't know me, they don't know how I work, and they don't know what I'm capable of, which is fine. So I mean, I guess there is sort of trust involved, and them just trusting me and my decisions, and, you know, trusting that that I know what I'm doing, I guess, a little bit. But, yeah. But I get it. Well, at the same time, it's like I'm untested. I get it. They don't know me. They don't know, sort of.
But you know what you can do.
And I know what I can do. So part of it is like, proving that and putting people's minds at ease.
You know, I talked with Jessica, and she did an episode of the podcast, and she talked about like one simple note you gave her that made all the difference in her performance. Like just saying like the one thing that really gets in there was really impactful. So you have to tune into that episode to hear what she said. But Yolanda, were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, even along those lines of what Meko's talked about, of her wanting to establish trust with her performers. I know another thing, part of that, just from having gotten to know you and like hearing you talk, is I think I love that you brought your authentic self every day, but I know that you were also mindful of being protective of your actors and, you know, not only your actors, but your entire crew. And not that you were saying anything that was untrue or necessarily like, you know, trying to, you know, craft whatever it was you were saying, but I know you were making sure that you weren't offering up things that would be negative or destructive for the people that you're working with, or making sure that everything you did would be supportive of them and their work when they come to work every day. And, you know, you're on, like you said, you're on mic and on camera every day. So
yeah, it's definitely kind of tough. Very much so.
That was something Jeanette and I thought about all the time.
Yeah, definitely kind of tough, but yeah, that was just a weird day. And it's definitely, again, in one of those, in hindsight.
Is there anything you would have done different that day?
Yeah, I would have probably asked to have it pushed later in the week or something, because I know I've said it 1,000 times, but no, I want to get to know these people before we go into it. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to go into it as cold as we did, not knowing each other. And then, hey, nice to meet you. Okay, sit there and read, you know, even though we're going to
be vulnerable.
Yeah. So we haven't had a chance, you know. I feel weird like asking you to do things when I don't know you. I don't like that kind of transactional nature of things. I like to know who I'm working with. But yeah, I definitely would have asked to either have it pushed or at least just had that time and maybe just do the read through once. Like I really, it felt weird having them do it back to back like that too.
Well, without any conversation in between, like what is anyone expecting to be different?
Yeah.
The second time.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just weird. I definitely would never do do it like that. But you know, it's you know, I'm there to work with the actors and stuff, and part of my job is making sure they're doing a good job, and they need to feel safe and be able to say what they want to say. And when they're not able to do that, like that's bad for the film. So, but it was one of those where I was like, I'm planting a flag on this. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. But my job is to get good performances, and this is what I have to do.
That was not your job, Meko. I'm kidding.
How dare you? I mean, I'd rather, you know, I don't like to see people uncomfortable or any of that. So I'd rather be made to be uncomfortable rather than someone else, if it's in my power. So.
Well, you're advocating for your actors.
Yeah, and that's super important. Actors, or just anyone on the team. Like, I'm going to advocate for anyone on our team. So, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Is there anything you'll take forward to your next table read?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is like, but it's just like, no, like, you know, obviously I stood by my choices that I made with all the actors. But it's like, yeah, man, hold the line if you believe in something for sure. Because I kind of,
it was a tough day, but you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Tough. There's going to be some days that just really suck, and that's part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, when I look back on it, it was, it was not my lowest day. It might have been Miko's lowest day. I don't know, but you're just going to have low days,
sure.
And that's part of it too. And that's part of the process and how you grow. And I'm just like, okay, that day sucked.
No, it's definitely a learning experience about, things that I wouldn't do. And that is part of the process, but it is one of those weird things when you go to work and you have a low day, there's usually it's not being broadcast.
I mean, but look at what Herculean task that, you went through everything that you went through to submit, to get chosen, to make the short, to make it to the top 10, to get picked, to go to the premiere, and then literally 7 weeks later, filming a movie that they had handed you a script that needed to be massaged, adjusted, and fixed as you were prepping the actual movie while being filmed and doing it in only 18 days. Most of them were nights.
Yeah.
And it was really, really cold outside.
Yeah.
And, what a Herculean task.
Yeah, no. And I will say it's big. And that's the thing. I know it's like, what are you complaining about? You freaking got to do a $5 million movie and all of these things, which is it's not lost on me at all, how big of a blessing it is. But, it was a massive mountain to climb. And it's so nice. It's very cool to kind of look at the finished product, knowing sort of all the obstacles that were there. And the good thing is okay, now I can do these with, such a condensed timeline. So it's you can do that. Then everything else, hopefully after that is easy.
Without cameras and mics.
Yeah. You never lost your shit.
No.
You were a guiding light for everybody. The crew and the cast loved you. You pulled off an amazing feat, creating something that was entertaining and cohesive story and a fun ride. And I mean, that is just remarkable to have all of that pressure on you and to come out like that with never losing it once.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Project Greenlight is set up to, give somebody a break and record them going through that process, but it doesn't allow the space for that person to learn. And if they're learning for everybody to see all of the bumps and bruises along the way, rather than in real life, we would have a conversation and get her prepared before going in and, giving notes to a studio or, pitching on something or whatever it is. And there wasn't that opportunity in the show. So it was a very out of body experience in going through the process at hyper speed and being recorded at it. So we needed to create some safe spaces for ourselves. Not to mention my shin probably has a few bruises on it from when Yolanda would kick me under the table.
No, I can't that's safe. Having a safe space was another thing that was just so helpful. Because it was just a place I could go to vent to kind of thing. And, I needed that. So
was this the first time you worked together?
It was the first time we worked together. Yeah. We've known each other forever though.
Yeah. How'd that go?
It was amazing.
Good. We had
I think Yolanda, she joined the company and literally, I want to say a week later, I was like, so what do you think about being on TV?
Yes, it was basically a week later.
I was like, what do you think about partnering with me and producing on Project Greenlight? And she was like, I'm going to lean in and say yes. And I was like, yes. So it was great. It's great to know that you've got, a friend who's got your back, who's in the same position that you are, who's, trying to put the best foot forward for, the team, for Meko, our new friend and director, and grow her career, and for all the people that we gave the chance to, and try to balance the politics out that are going on and deliver something on time and on budget. That's a blessing to be able to do that with someone that you really love working with.
Nice to have a friend in the trenches.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yolanda, would you like to read it?
Jeanette and I basically were of the same mind about what we were doing. We were given a job and we were going to get it done. And it was going to be stellar once we were finished. The end of the story, period.
You were like my
Facts.
Jiminy Cricket. You're like, can I do this? And she was like, well, let's think about this now.
What's the phrase? This is Yolanda's favorite phrase.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm like,
Here's the
uh-oh.
thing.
Here's the thing. And I was like, I can't wait for whatever comes next. When she leads with, here's the thing. I'm like, oh, here we go.
You need to make that in neon and have it behind your desk.
Here's the thing.
Here's the
Yeah.
I'll just have a sign.
Yeah.
I think Meko is one of the biggest weirdos I know.
Correct.
And weirdos are my favorite people in the world. So I knew I was going to like her pretty soon. And I think she's a huge talent. And I think the world is going to find out soon enough about it. And I cannot wait to be a spectator and hopefully a partner.
Amen.
Yeah. Thanks.
Meko is a visionary and she is a true partner and even-keeled and very responsible and understands how to blend all of those things to make a project enjoyable and successful.
Thanks, Jeanette.
Yep. But mostly a weirdo.
Correct.
You ready?
Oh, no, I know. Oh, I know. Correct.
All right. Like, it's a miracle any film ever gets
No,
made,
it really
right?
is. It
And then
is.
to direct your first film in those conditions,
Yeah.
it's a miracle. Imagine how very easy your next film's going
Yeah,
to be.
no, I'm definitely looking forward to how easy the next one will be. And I did it with no help from these two at all. I did everything by myself. Just so we're clear, all of it myself. No help from anybody. Shot it. I even acted. We just deep faked everyone, but it was all me doing the performances. So
Good job.
thanks,
Good job.
Chatbot AGT.
All right. Thanks, all you guys.
Well, thanks for having us back to chat about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, we got to get the tea on everything.
get that tea.
Good.
I
Yes.
can give you
The
some
tea.
tea.
Cheers. That's right. That's right.
Or you just got to get to like
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan status where it's like, oh well, like no one cares.
Yeah, what NDA?
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, bye.
Bye.
This has been Catch a Break, Project Greenlight Edition. I'm Julie Harris Oliver. I'd like to thank our guests, Meko Winbush, Jeanette Volturno, and Yolanda Cochran. And special thanks to Crewvie.com, CREWVIE.com, a dynamic platform that connects people to productions worldwide. Please check out our website at catchabreakpodcast.com and follow us on all the social media. Catch a Break is produced in partnership with Catchlight Studios and The Other 50%. Our theme music, Mantra for a Struggling Artist, was composed by Andrew Jocelyn. Thanks for listening, and be sure to go watch Project Greenlight and then come back and check us out for behind the scenes of the behind the scenes. Next up, we dig deep into the art department with Martina Buckley, Vincent Rodriguez, and Joel Newton. They had a very tough job, and they came through in amazing ways. In the meantime, I hope this helps you to catch a break.